You have, I believe, like the first 2 weeks, I'm not sure the exact date, into the semester to opt out of that, where you could still, we would take the charges off and you would be on your own to purchase the books. I mean, I would definitely say maybe as you get maybe towards your like senior year, if you're doing maybe student teaching or something where you don't really have books per se, yeah, you probably want to opt out. But for the most cases, especially for the first 3 years, it's going to be cheaper for you to do it through, having it charged directly towards your account.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other questions that anybody has? I mean, please go ahead, keep throwing them in the chat, or unmute yourself and throw them out loud. We love all the questions you guys have had so far, and we'd love to keep this going.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, go for it.
My name is Keith Weiler.
Hi, Keith.
Not Sherry. I'm using my wife's Zoom. I'm currently teaching, and my company offers financial help. Does that interfere with FAFSA or TAP and Pell or anything, Katie?
Not with like TAP or Pell. Is it something that comes directly to the university? Do you know?
I don't know. I have to get with my HR department and find out more about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if it's something like you're talking like a tuition exchange where it would be like a full covered of the tuition, then that would be minus any TAP and Pell. But if it's, I know some schools would be like, oh, here's like $3,000 or $5,000 for the year for the student. We would consider that as like an outside private scholarship and put it into the package. Sometimes it might affect some of the like loan eligibility or maybe a work study eligibility, but we try really hard not to reduce any of the other need-based grants and scholarships if we don't have to.
Okay, because I work for a private school. I don't imagine it's going to be like a lot. And I don't know if I pay out of pocket and then they pay me back. I got to find out how it all works.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and if you run into any questions as you go along, just let us know.
Okay.
One thing I want to go backwards just a little bit, Katie. We were talking a little bit about some of the additional scholarships that we have at Niagara, and correct me if I'm wrong, but students can apply for that as a freshman, but then let's say they don't get those scholarships as a freshman, they're going to get another round, a couple more rounds of applying for that, correct, as sophomores, juniors, seniors.
You're talking about for like our endowed scholarships?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is an application that's open every January 1st, and you can go ahead and every year that it opens, apply again if you don't get them the first year. Sometimes they're specifically only for, juniors or seniors and not for freshmen. It just kind of varies. But yeah, you definitely have that opportunity to apply again every year.
That's just something I really wanted to kind of highlight there for everyone because, your sons and daughters might apply from as a freshman and not get them. And you can think that's what it's going to be every year. Well, we're going to have opportunities in their future with Niagara to find some other ways as well to help fund their education. And there's other opportunities for getting jobs on campus as well. In the admissions department, we're always hiring students to come in. So if your student has a true desire to be involved in giving tours or talking to prospective students, we'll have opportunities, and there'll be other opportunities across campus for students to help out with their funding of their education.
I just wanted to say one other thing is that Allison was asking a follow-up about the legacy. So she's was told that it was a $4,000 for the legacy scholarship. So that's kind of true. So it's $1,000 for the legacy, once you complete the application and confirm the status of the alum that you're referring to. And then anybody who's been approved for that $1,000 legacy scholarship will then be sent an email, probably not until January-ish, to actually complete an additional application where you have to submit an essay that could qualify you up to another additional $4,000 to total $5,000 for the legacy scholarship. So that might be a little confusing, so I'm sorry about that, but hopefully that clears things up a little bit.
Any other questions out there?
So I'm going to ask another one. As long as they've the student has created their student portal because they've been accepted, would they have access then to see what those other scholarships are that start in January, like that they could apply for? They have access to look through them and see if they qualify for anything. right?
Yeah, so actually, anyone has access to view all the ones that are out there. It's on our endowment page on just our normal Niagara site. So hopefully we can pop it into the chat. So you can go ahead and actually do it. We just updated it, so you can actually do a keyword search to kind of start looking at them now. The actual applications won't open up until the 1st. And then, of course, like you said, they'll need to have their Purple Pass credentials all set up to be able to log in and do that. But you can view them at any time right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I think that link should help a little bit too.
Oh, perfect.
That's when we get to go and you log in, but that should maybe help. Are there any questions even regarding more about financial aid? Does anybody have questions regarding admissions or that process? Because I'm here to help as well. Anything burning on your minds, we'd be happy to address.
How typically long does it take after you complete your online application for your counselor to get a hold of you and tell you where to start? Because I'm just starting. I'm just right in the beginning. I just turned in my application yesterday. In fact, I left you a voicemail yesterday, Ben.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Nice. Love that. Let's see. When did you turn in your application?
I did it yesterday online, yesterday afternoon.
Okay, so more than likely you'll hear from your counselor this week. I would guess probably sometime tomorrow, because if you turned it in yesterday, then it would take, it takes a day to process through the system as received, and to be assigned to the correct counselor and things like that. I would imagine you'll hear from your counselor very soon. And then for me, once I get back into the office, and probably tomorrow, I'll hear your voicemail and be able to reach back out to you.
Fair enough.
What school are you coming from?
I currently teach at Henrietta G. Lewis Campus School. It's a private school at Wyndham Lawn in Lockport.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a technology teacher.
Awesome. And what are you thinking of studying?
I wasn't sure what to put in because I didn't see anything that went along with technology. So I just put in the special advanced education general 7 through 12 because I teach 7 through 12. So.
Okay.
And I have I have a colleague that already attends NU. So she told me how great your school was. And I'm like, okay.
Well, love that. Props to her for sending you our way. Like I said, this marks down who attended tonight. So I'll make sure that I find some time tomorrow for me and you to connect a little bit more and talk about your application and go from there. So.
Okay.
Thanks for throwing it out there.
Okay, there's a couple more questions. Allison, I will email you the legacy link, and if anybody else needs that link, shoot me a message, and I will get that out to you tomorrow. Keith is asking about, merit scholarships different from FAFSA. Yes, so merit scholarships that are awarded through the admissions office based upon either your high school GPA or your SAT or ACT scores, depending upon what you submitted. That has nothing to do with FAFSA. That is completely separate. Whether you make $10,000 or $1 million, it doesn't matter. Your merit scholarship is totally separate. Anything else though, any other type of financial aid, whether it is institutional like need-based grants, Pell grants from the federal government, or TAP grants from New York State, work study or loans through the federal government, that's all going to be based upon your FAFSA. So yes, they are different and totally separate.
And a quick note too, just so everybody knows, for merit scholarships this year, with a lot of SATs and ACTs being canceled, we had already been test optional for, I think, a couple of years. We did make the decision this year that we were test optional completely. Nursing students, biology students, programs that typically required SATs or ACTs beforehand, and our highest level merit. So our highest level merit used to require the SAT. But for this year, at least this year, we don't know what future years will look like, but at least this year, all of our merit scholarships are test optional. So if you have questions, if you want some guidance on, if you took the SAT or ACT, or if you haven't taken it yet and you're waiting to finish your application because of that, reach out to us. We can complete your application without those scores and make sure that we're making sure that your merit scholarship is the most beneficial. Good question. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thanks for your added thoughts on that, Ben. Okay, so the next question might be a stupid question, she says, but to do the FAFSA, do you know if 2018 tax returns can be used? Because of COVID, we got way behind a lot of things. So for the 21-22 FAFSA, you have to use 2019 taxes. If you don't, I take it by saying you're way behind on things means you haven't completed the 2019 taxes yet. And if that's the case, what you would do is try your best to estimate what you think they're going to be. If they're very similar to what 2018 was, go ahead and use that information. Just know that I won't say most likely, you have the potential of being selected for the verification process, either by the federal government or myself, or not myself, but and you. And then we would require you to update it once you do have 2019 taxes done. So yeah, you have to get them done this week or so. Yeah, I mean, if you're just getting them done the next couple of weeks, that's fine, no big deal. Just update the FAFSA. Either you can wait to do the FAFSA, or just use estimated information until you get them updated, and then you can correct the FAFSA. Is there any other scholarships available for student athletes? For student athletes, so if you potentially are maybe getting a scholarship directly from athletics, that would be something. I mean, I don't know if that's the case or not, but athletics does award, NCAA scholarships that we put into the student's account. So that would really be the only athletic type of scholarship. Otherwise, if they're not an athletic scholarship, they would be packaged as, any other student, and that would be based upon the FAFSA form.
Just a random fact that I've seen hold up some people's FAFSA. One that I've seen some families get caught up on, if their sons are over the age of 18, they do actually have to register for the selective service.
Yep.
And hold up your FAFSA. I've just seen that a couple of times. Just wanted to throw that fact out there. If you have your son is over the age of 18, they do actually have to register in order for the government to complete that FAFSA for you and get it finalized. So I've seen that hold people up. Sometimes it's a simple signature thing, but that is one that I've had a couple of times that I always like to just remind families of.
So thank you for bringing that up, Ben. So because I just want to let everybody know that my team does, once we do review all the FAFSAs as they come in, as soon as students are accepted, and if a FAFSA is not valid, either due to selective service registration or a signature or some other, there's a lot of different codes that could be attributed to an invalid FAFSA, we do reach out to the students. We email them to let them know, but have hope that they correct it. So keep an eye out on your emails. Anything comes from FAO or FinAid at Niagara.edu. It's most likely because of something that's wrong with the FAFSA.
And I always just like to know, I've been in higher ed now for quite a while now, and I always just like to note that with Niagara University, I've been at other universities and I've spoken with colleagues at different universities, and Niagara has one of the best financial aid departments. They're more than willing to chat with you, answer personal questions. Give guidance on certain areas. They're awesome to work with, easy to work with. Obviously with everything that's going on, it can make for, crazy schedules and things like that. So, if it takes a little bit for us to get to you, I promise we will get back to you. We will get you the answers to questions that you have. So if you didn't ask them tonight or new ones pop in your head, admissions, we're willing to get you to financial aid. Financial aid is willing to work with you. Any questions that we can answer in admissions, we will. Just know that we're here to help in any way that we can, especially during what's going on. Everything is, we've got processes that happen, and every process has been changed and new this year with everything that's going on. So if you're confused, we'll work through it with you and do anything we can to help out. So please do not hesitate to reach out to our financial aid team. Like I said, they are awesome. Great job, Katie.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, to kind of piggyback on that, you know, as Ben said, with everything going on, this process has changed every day. So, you know, we do have a partial remote schedule. So if we don't respond, we're always checking our emails, of course, but for voicemails and whatnot, if we don't respond to you that day, we'll definitely, as soon as we're next in time in the office, we will definitely get back to you. Email is always the best way to kind of get a hold of us for the most part, until we can kind of connect on one-on-one. I did want to, this case actually came up in the session we did a couple of weeks ago, but someone asked about the level tuition plan. And I just want to quickly go over what that was in case you were thinking of maybe looking into that. It's for freshman students starting in fall of 21. It's an option to actually lock in your tuition rate for all 4 years that you're attending in Niagara. Oh man, normal tuition is going to be $34,400, and I think, shoot, I should have wrote it down, but I think it's $500 more than what the normal tuition rate is. But so you pay a little bit more the first year than normal tuition, but then you pay that same rate, you know, your sophomore, junior, senior years as well. So, and you're guaranteed never to pay more than anybody else. So it's definitely a good thing to think about as you're kind of planning and budgeting out for the next 4 years. My parents signed me up for it way back when. You know, they saved a couple thousand back in the day. You know, people now are saving even more on average. So something to think about, just want to throw out there. I know we get questions often, and hopefully those applications or contracts, really, it's all online now. It's through like their admissions portal. I don't think that's set up yet, Ben, no. Okay. So hopefully in the next month or two, that'll be all up and ready to go.
I don't want to, hopefully I'm not jumping the gun here, Katie, but I believe you guys, like the admissions team, have set up so you can do one-on-one meetings, correct?
Yeah, and if anybody, so right now we're doing this week, and then next week we have one-on-one FAFSA appointments. So pretty much if you haven't done your FAFSA yet and you need help completing that, you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with my team, and we'll, you know, it's a virtual appointment, everything's virtual. So we will, you know, more than happy to go over that process with you. In the new year, once we get back, we're probably going to actually set up some more one-on-ones, but it won't be FAFSA specific. It'll be, you know, if you just have general questions or want to start reviewing your package, those will start transitioning into the new year. But for the rest of this week and next week, if you wanted to go check out what available appointments we have, it's just niagara.edu/FAFSA, FAFSA, and you can see what appointments you can set up if you haven't completed your FAFSA yet. Oh, there's another question. How would you know? Okay, Keith, I'm sorry. So you're saying, how would we know? Are you saying, how would we know if you have an athletic scholarship? If that's the question, then that would have been awarded to you or to the student directly through the athletic office. So they would have typically had to sign a national letter of intent for that. So, and we're still getting those. I mean, the signing periods are, you know, kind of, you know, fluctuating. So we don't have all of those offers in yet. And as far as who do we ask for the exact amount that we need to pay per year or semester. So we are working on your packages now. So once those go out in, you know, early January, they'll actually include a breakdown for you of the cost for 2021, 22 and your package, and then, you know, what the remaining balance would be. So those would be going out. And again, feel free to contact my office. We can go over all that as well. Maybe one of those one-on-one appointments would be a good thing in the new year. Can you comment on private loans and the event federal loans are not enough or available? Okay, that's a really good question. So the federal loans, there's a cap on how much a student can receive each year. So for freshman students, the most that they can receive in federal loans, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized, is $5,500. That goes up into $6,500 the sophomore year, and then $7,500 for junior and $7,500 for senior years. So if that turns out to not be enough to cover expenses on top of all their other aid, the options for additional loans, one would be a Parent Plus loan. This is a federal loan, but it is in the parent's name that they could apply for. This one's not, it's, you know, takes 5 minutes to fill out the application. based pretty much just on your credit score. You find out within 5 minutes you've been approved or denied. We find out the next day. So it's a loan that's pretty easy to the process is pretty easy for that. Now, if the parent applies for the Parent Plus loan through the government and gets denied for it, the student would actually be eligible to receive an additional $4,000 unsubsidized loan. That's the only other way to kind of go above and beyond the $5,500 federal loan limit, is to get a Parent Plus loan denial. That's the one option. The other option is what we call like private student loans or alternative loans. This is a loan in the student's name, but 99% of the time they're going to need a cosigner for that. So whether it's a parent or another relative or someone like that, they will need that cosigner in order to be approved for that loan, because it's not just based upon credit score this time. It's based upon employment history and all that good stuff that banks look at. So those are the options, and all that information will also be included in the packets that we send out with our financial aid package in not too long after the Christmas break.
Laura asked, I plan to take the SAT in February. Will my financial aid be reevaluated / can I apply for a merit-based scholarship once my scores are received? But typically what happens is students, when they are applying, they make the choice to either apply test optionally or apply utilizing their score. So if you are taking the SAT in February, it kind of depends on if you've made the decision to apply test optionally or not. I would say though, this year more than ever, we're fairly as flexible in any way that we can. So I would say if you go through the process of being admitted and you take the SAT and your scores are really positive and you want to have the conversation of if that might affect your merit, we would be willing to have those conversations and be willing to address that. And again, make sure that your merit is doing the best work for you that it can. We've had occasions in the past where families will apply, our students will apply for admission and their SAT is evaluated, and then they retake it later down the road and their score is higher, and they come to us and ask for us to reevaluate their merit. And we've had occasions where it would have raised their scholarship. So that is possible, yes. So Laura, if you want to reach out to me after this, we can discuss further in detail. I'm going to put my name as well as my email here in the chat. That way you can reach out to me, and then I'll put my office line as well. So this goes for anyone. That's my name, my email, and my phone number there. So if you have more questions regarding, not financial aid, but regarding admission, you can always reach out. If you've got financial aid questions, I'll do my best, but I'm probably going to direct you to Katie. But if you have admissions questions similar to that, I'm more than willing to have that conversation more in depth, and we can kind of evaluate, where students are at right now, looking at GPA, SAT scores, things like that. We can go the whole gambit. So, great question. Would be more than happy. Any out-of-state scholarships available from Texas? I do not believe that we have anything.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything specifically for being from Texas. I don't think any of our endowed scholarships, apparently we don't have any maybe donors in Texas who have created one just for that state. Yeah, nothing, but feel free to, if you know of anything in Texas, any scholarships in Texas that could travel with the student to whatever college they go to, that would, definitely be something to look into. Some states you have to, go to school in that state in order to have the scholarship, just like New York State. Like for TAP, you have to be in New York, attending school in New York State in order to actually be eligible for that. So I can't travel out of state with you.
It's a really good question, though. And just a note based off of that question. One thing that we don't do, however, is we do not have out-of-state tuition.
Correct.
You'll see a lot of schools will have different prices for in-state versus out-of-state, and typically out-of-state students are paying a lot more. So, you know, we don't have any necessarily scholarships directly for students coming from Texas. But I guess one benefit maybe that Niagara does have is we are not charging any differently. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry, we don't have anything for Texas. We'll have to reach out to some people in Texas, see if we have any alumni. I have just a random side note for Texas. I have a really good friend who lives in Nacogdoches, Texas. No idea where that is. He loves it there, so he says good things. Due to COVID-19, I did not take the SAT. However, I did quite well in my PSAT. I realized PSAT scores do not help with admission. Would they help for scholarship consideration? They wouldn't necessarily help with anything from the admission side, just to be honest. Now, when you apply, the more you put into your application, the better, right? We're going to see everything you put in there, your essay. If you put in your PSAT scores, we're gonna see those. We're going to see everything. It can help with admission by you supplying those scores, but it wouldn't necessarily change anything from merit. Merit is based off of grades, combination of grades, SAT scores if you have them, but not necessarily the PSAT is going to help address anything directly related to scholarships that I know of.
All right. Those are a lot of good questions today. So I really appreciate all of everyone asking something. We always have some questions prepared, but you guys asked a lot, so that's great. Does anybody have any other questions for us? I know some things will come up, of course, after we get off this call. So again, feel free to reach out to myself or Ben or anyone in my team as we can help you with all those questions. What's the highest merit?
You want that? Or you want me?
Well, I can say it's the trustee scholarship of $23,000 for the year.
Yeah, and it's so our and to go off of that, so our scholarships start off at $10,000 per year, and they range up to $23,000 a year. And I believe in total there are 5 levels.
Yep.
And those are, you can see those online as well. If you haven't applied and you kind of want to know, or you're in the process and you kind of want to know, you know, where you might end up based off GPA, based off of scores if you have them. Again, reach out to us in admissions. We can have that conversation, give you an idea. It's an estimate until we have everything official in the system, but we can give you estimates of where you might be. We can talk about, you know, whether to supply scores, whether not to supply scores. Again, we want to maximize your merit scholarship for you, so definitely reach out. Are there better or lower priced Parent Plus lenders, or are they all the same?
So the actual Parent Plus loan is through the federal government. It's the only place you can get the Parent Plus loan. And that is a fixed interest rate. Right now, it's not too bad because of interest rates themselves are pretty low right now. For the, there are a few like private lenders that have like parent loans, like strictly in the parents' names. I wouldn't say they're all the same. You definitely need to shop around, just like with the private student loans. You know, you kind of need to start comparing and see what their, you know, the best interest rates would be. We do have, it's called elmselect.com is a tool that you can actually go and compare the lenders that are on our preferred lender listing. There's like about 6 or 7 different lenders that we have on that list. You don't have to go with one of those, but it does kind of give you a good starting point of where to look and to kind of compare what their, you know, whether it's variable or fixed or what is involved in each one. If additional loans are needed after awarded aid, do you have to do a Parent Plus loan? No, you certainly do not have to do a Parent Plus loan. We do not automatically put that into a student's package. I am 100% against that. That is something that you would have to actually actively reach out and apply for if you are interested in doing so. Same thing with a private student loan. If that's, you know, the way you want to go, you have to actively reach out and apply for those. And really, you can't start applying for those loans until June. That's when the new applications open up for the 21-22 year. Anytime before that, well, one, it won't be open, and two, your credit could expire before we actually process the loan in August or September. Let's see. Oh, when my son went to school, we got roped into that and it hurt. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That's I hate when schools just automatically plop that into the package. If you don't want to go down the loan road, you certainly don't have to. You can either, pay in cash, check, whatever. We have payment plans you can sign up for, which divides the payments in either 4 or 5 payments per semester. So we definitely do have I've seen some parents do half and half, half, okay, we're gonna go on a payment plan because this is what we can afford each month. And, the other half will be through a loan. So everyone's different. Oh, Ben, that's what the grade questions are all you, Ben.
Great question, Joe. So here's what I would say. If you've already been awarded a merit scholarship, if you applied it based off of junior year, in your senior year, you're just doing it, you're doing awesome, you got really good grades and your GPA's jumped up a little bit, absolutely it could help. Now, we can't do anything with like semester grades, right? Semester grades are just really, here's where you're currently at up until, the year is over, something like that. We would need to see kind of final grades for your classes. So if you're switching halfway through and you're halfway through and those classes are complete, you've got the grades and it's moved you up, then send them in. We can review it. If you're just doing really well right now, best encouragement is to keep doing well, finish your senior year off super strong. And then when you have that new GPA at the end of your senior year, reach out directly to your admissions counselor and say, I'm sending in my final transcripts. I'd like my merit scholarship to be reevaluated. Now, by asking that, by your GPA moving, it doesn't mean that your merit is for sure going to move at Niagara. But it will trigger to us to just go in and check. And if anything does move, then we would award the higher merit scholarship. Absolutely. We would not penalize you for applying early and then having better grades your senior year. We would not penalize you for that. But at the same time, it is tough for us to recognize when you put in your final transcripts, it's pretty tough to recognize if a GPA moved up, a point or 2 points. When you see that, if you know that your GPA has gone up, reach out to us and give us a second red flag of saying, hey, you're probably going to see this, but I had a great year. My GPA moved. I really want to see if this affects my merit. Raise your hand, let us know, and we can go from there. But absolutely, that's a long answer to a short question. Yes, it can have a positive impact on your merit. Now, if we go the other way, we would not take it away from you, right? If you had a rough senior year, it's not like we're going to give you a call and say, hey, sorry, we're switching things around. We've awarded you this merit scholarship based off what we've seen. The only way you can go now is positive if there's a change in your GPA.
Keith is asking, how would FAFSA affect my tuition fee? So tuition is the same, whether you file the FAFSA or not. Everyone's charged the tuition, whether you're on regular tuition or you sign up for the level tuition plan, that would be your tuition fee. The FAFSA, what the FAFSA does is that it then sees what other aid besides your merit scholarship you might be eligible for, and then can reduce what your bill is. So that's how it would affect it. It could only really help lessen what you owe.
Really good questions tonight. Seriously, these are phenomenal questions. Very in-depth questions as well, which I love.
I got more of an admissions question.
Yeah, go for it.
You're talking about stuff you need to bring along with your SAT scores and stuff like that. What about for somebody like me who's been out of high school for a really long time?
So you can utilize, right? You don't need your SAT scores. We would still have to get transcripts from any schools you've attended, right? So if you went to any colleges, any college that you attended, even if you enrolled in classes and then disenrolled, we do have to get a transcript from those schools. even like I said, even if you completely disenrolled from the school, you just have to see that you completely disenrolled. We have to get all the transcripts from the schools. Then I would encourage just, an essay on why, what you're going to school for, what you want to accomplish, things like that, letting us know more about you and what your goals are. And then from there, really, I mean, you're going to have a specific admissions counselor who's going to be reaching out specifically to you saying, for you specifically, this is what we need to see. This is what we're missing on your application. So, like I said, you just put in your application, so you wouldn't have had a chance to connect quite yet. Have you attended any other colleges?
I attended 2 online colleges for a very short time because I have 2 autistic children, and it was very hard to do online college with those 2 when they were younger.
Okay.
So that's why I don't go there anymore.
Yeah, so for both of those schools, we would need transcripts. And I believe with that, you would technically be considered a transfer student, even though they were online schools. I mean, I don't know the exact details, but we do have a counseling team for transfer students and non-traditional students as well that will be in contact with you, kind of guiding you through this process, literally every step of the way.
So I'd be a transfer student even though I didn't achieve any grades at all?
I believe yes, but we can look into it. Like I said, I'm going to reach out to you tomorrow, and we can have a more in-depth conversation, so we can kind of figure out who your admissions counselor will be and make sure we're getting you pointed in the right direction. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
I don't know if I left this on the voicemail for you, Ben, but I'm available at I get out of work at 2:45.
2:45. Perfect.
So anytime after that, you can give me a ring on the number I left you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem. Katie, I love your Christmas tree.
Oh, thank you. It's NU themed.
I see that. So is my motorcycle. My motorcycle is also purple.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Right in.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, Julie had a question. Okay. When a scholarship says it's awarded to students who demonstrate financial need, does that mean that they are open to anyone who has an estimated family contribution of over $1? Or is there a certain estimated family contribution or EFC level that qualifies you for being financially? This is a really great question. And the answer is that everyone is different. So how we determine financial need is that we take your cost of attendance, which can vary whether you're living on campus, a commuter, or living off campus, like in your own apartment or something. Then we minus away your EFC, and then that remaining amount is financial need. And that means we can package you with financial need up to that amount. Now your merit scholarships will go against that need, and then we see what other stuff you might be eligible for. So I would say, especially like this first year of kind of not knowing, where you might land with financial need and whatnot, definitely still apply for those scholarships on our site or any other sites really that's, even if it mentions having, financial need as a criteria. I still recommend doing it, especially at least for the first year. It doesn't hurt to apply. And then we would, be able to do those calculations on our end to let you know where you would stand. I hope that helps answer your question. Oh, so your family will most likely always have to borrow the full amount of our estimated family contribution. I don't know. I mean, like I said, each person is different. So we would package the student with need-based aid up to, what we can. So you might not have to borrow the full amount. Again, your merit scholarship goes towards your tuition and fee charges. And then you have, federal loans as well. Those are the basic things that all students have. They'd have their merit scholarship and then at least the $5,500 in the unsubsidized loan. So if you want to email me, I can, if we have your FAFSA on file, I can, look to see if you have any financial need or not. And then if you can apply for those other scholarships. So Julie, I think it was Julie. Yep, Julie, just email me, kkosis@niagara.edu. And I can look into that for you.
that's a really, really good question. And I know that sometimes, especially with financial aid, a lot of terminology, a lot of things happening. It can sound really confusing when we're just talking about it in a general sense. But we'll make it, I promise we will get it right down to the nitty gritty when we have your official financial aid package. We can talk more in detail exactly what's happening for you and your family and your circumstances. One thing that I just want to point out that I really, really love about Niagara, we want to fill our community with students who truly want to be at Niagara, who believe that being at Niagara is going to place them in a position for them to go on and be successful. So when you have financial aid packages, do not hesitate to reach out to us and have a conversation on how and what we can do to try and make this as much of an affordable option for you and your family as possible. You know, if we have to have a conversation on our end and try to help you find scholarships or whatever we can do, we want to do it. If it's helping you find a job on campus, I've had multiple students in my time in Niagara who we were just short on the financial aid package. And one of the things we did is we quickly realized their major and their intended program of study and their area of interest was directly related to something that they could do in our admissions office. We got them a position in the admissions office, and those students were kind of working for us and taking that money, putting it towards their tuition and fees, and that's what made it a financial possibility for them. So do not, like I said, when those financial aid packages come out, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We want students who want to be here at Niagara. We want students who believe Niagara is going to put them in that successful position. If we can fill our community with students who want that, the community is going to be better as a whole. We don't want students just to choose us because we're the cheapest option. We don't want students to choose us because we're the closest option. We want a population of students who truly believe NU is the best place for them. So let's have those conversations and let's see what we can do to help you and your family.
I also, I know we're over time, but I did throw into the chat the two forms I was talking about at the very beginning, the financial aid booklet that just kind of goes over a lot of the stuff that was in my presentation as far as the definitions of cost of attendance and need and all that. It gives, you know, some good hints and tips in there and websites. And then the FAFSA on the web worksheet, if you haven't yet completed the 21-22 FAFSA, it gives you all the information you will need to have when you do it online. So hopefully, I put those in the chat. Hopefully you can access them. They're PDFs. Again, feel free to reach out to us and email me if any other questions come up as things go along. But if there's no other questions, I think we'll probably wrap it up, right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to throw out two more plugs, and then we'll call it a night. So as Katie mentioned, financial aid is doing some one-on-one appointments. We're doing the same thing in admissions. We can do them virtual. But my last plug for the evening, we have found a way by limiting capacity, by doing certain things, following guidelines, that we are still able to have in-person visits on campus. So I know there's not a lot of college campuses that are able to do this right now. We've had our guidelines, our protocols approved. We're limiting capacity on every day. Under 10 people in the building, small groups, usually even one-on-one meetings. But we are able to do in-person visits, which I think is so important. If you haven't been on campus, even if you've been on campus 100 times for basketball or for hockey or something like that, coming out to do an official visit on campus is different. So please, if you haven't been on campus for an official visit and you can find some time in the coming weeks, please take some time, come see us, come have a conversation. And if you have more questions, we'll be happy to answer them. You comment on traveling from Florida to campus. You know, in a way, I guess it is possible, but I can tell you there's probably a lot of hoops that you're going to have to jump through. I don't know. I know Florida's on I believe it's on the no travel list right now to New York State.
Everybody's on the list, Ben. Come on.
And once you get paid, you'd have to quarantine for 14 days. So if you want to make a really long trip and come up to campus, for sure, But again, reach out to me. We can look into it. But I don't know how possible that would be, to be completely honest. And if we can't, what we can do is we can do a virtual one, and I will physically walk all over campus with my phone on, show you the dorms, show you all around campus. I'll do that myself, or I'll have one of my students do it, just to really give you a sense. And maybe we'll even just walk in on the president and have him say hi. So, but again, thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Bless you, Katie. I know you didn't sneeze out loud, but I could see it. Thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. Honestly, it was great to have you. A lot of great questions. And again, I hope to see some of you guys on campus soon.
Can I ask you one more, Ben?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'm only 25 minutes away. Do I have to make an appointment to come in and see the campus? Is it a drive-on thing?
Yep, so you make an appointment. So you go online, niagara.edu/visit. That has all the visit options, any events, virtual ones as well. But then it has a calendar. If you want to visit campus in person, it's got a physical calendar. You click on the date. If there's time and space available, you click register, put your name and information in, and then you would come in and you would meet on that day, and we take you around campus. So, yeah, please schedule, register. Great. Thank you so much. Please register for your visits. Huge help. If you walk in, it could really throw us off a little bit. We really have to take a look at capacity and if we can accommodate. But otherwise, yeah. And Robert, please do take me up on that. I'm serious. If you give me a date and a time, I'll work my best to walk around campus with my phone and show you that. So, but again, thank you, everybody. If we don't talk to you beforehand, happy holidays to everyone. Again, take care.
Hey guys, have a good night.
You too, Katie.
Thanks.
Bye, Katie. Thank you.
Bye, Ben. Yeah, if you get any other questions, forward them on.
Will do. Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
All right, no
Ben,
problem.
talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.